Human behavior in the context of ecology and evolution. Human behavior, as studied within the context of ecology and evolution, involves the examination of how human actions and social behaviors have evolved to adapt to environmental pressures, reproductive success, and survival. Behavioral ecology and evolutionary psychology provide frameworks to understand why humans act in particular ways, how these behaviors influence reproductive success, and how they contribute to the survival of individuals and groups. This section explores several aspects of human behavior from an evolutionary perspective. Evolutionary perspectives on human behavior. Adaptive behavior. Human behavior can be viewed as adaptive, meaning it has evolved to solve specific survival or reproductive challenges. Evolutionary theory suggests that behaviors which enhance an individual's ability to survive and reproduce are more likely to be passed on to future generations. Adaptive behaviors include social cooperation for group survival, e.g., division of labor, teamwork. Mate choice behaviors, ensuring the selection of genetically advantageous partners. Parent-offspring conflict that evolves to balance the allocation of parental resources. Evolutionary psychology. Evolutionary psychology proposes that many aspects of human psychology and behavior are shaped by our evolutionary past. This includes behaviors like mate preferences, where individuals may prefer traits in a mate that are perceived to increase reproductive success, e.g., physical attractiveness, social status. Parental investment, where parents make decisions on resource allocation for offspring based on their reproductive value. Aggression and cooperation, which may have evolved to either defend resources or enhance group cooperation. Example: cheater detection. Theory in evolutionary psychology suggests humans have evolved a tendency to detect when others are not reciprocating social favors or cooperation, to discourage cheating behaviors and reciprocal altruism. Social and cooperative behaviors. Kin selection. Kin selection explains how individuals may act altruistically toward relatives, kin, to increase the survival and reproductive success of shared genes. In human societies, kin selection is a driving force behind behaviors such as parental care, where parents invest time and resources in offspring, ensuring their survival and future reproductive success. Helping family members, as in the case of siblings helping each other or grandparents providing care to grandchildren. Reciprocal altruism. Reciprocal altruism in humans mirrors what is observed in other species. Individuals help others with the expectation of future help. This could include behaviors such as sharing resources, where individuals exchange food, shelter, or information with the expectation of future reciprocity. Social networks, where individuals cooperate with others in exchange for benefits such as social support, protection, or access to resources. Group selection. While individual selection is the primary driver of evolution, group selection theorizes that groups with cooperative behaviors may have a survival advantage. This has been proposed as an explanation for the development of human sociality and group behaviors such as group cooperation, where members of a group engage in cooperative tasks for mutual benefit, e.g., hunting, farming, or defense. Altruistic acts for the benefit of the group, even if these acts come at a cost to the individual, e.g., sacrificing oneself to protect the group. Human mate choice and sexual selection. Sexual selection. Sexual selection plays a significant role in human behavior, particularly in mate choice and sexual dimorphism. Key aspects include mate choice preferences. Humans often prefer mates who exhibit traits that signal good health, fertility, and genetic fitness, e.g., physical attractiveness, symmetry, and certain behavioral traits. Mate guarding. Individuals may engage in behaviors to prevent infidelity or to secure their partner's reproductive success. Sexual dimorphism. In humans, sexual dimorphism is subtle but can be observed in traits such as body size, voice pitch, and facial features, all of which may influence mate choice. Mate choice and fitness indicators. Humans tend to choose mates who display traits that signal genetic fitness, including physical health, clear skin, good body shape, and physical vigor can indicate health and genetic quality. Social status. Traits such as wealth, social influence, and access to resources may indicate a mate's ability to provide for offspring. Behavioral traits, kindness, intelligence, and emotional stability may signal qualities beneficial for raising offspring. Human aggression and conflict. Aggression is an evolutionary trait. Humans can be understood as an evolved behavior designed to protect resources, defend against threats, and establish social hierarchies. Some forms of aggression include intersection. Males may compete for access to mates, and females may compete for access to resources or status. Some forms of aggression include intersexual competition. Males may compete for access to mates, and females may compete for access to resources or status. Intergroup conflict. Aggression toward other groups may have evolved to defend territory or resources or to ensure the survival of one's social group. Conflict resolution and cooperation. While aggression is a part of human behavior, humans have also evolved mechanisms for conflict resolution and cooperation to maintain social cohesion and mutual survival. Social contracts. Humans have developed systems of law and morality to encourage cooperation and reduce conflict within groups. Empathy and altruism. Humans are capable of empathic behaviors, where they understand and share the feelings of others, which promotes cooperation and mutual aid. Human parenting and reproductive strategies. Parental investment theory. Parental investment theory explains how the amount of time and resources parents invest in offspring influences reproductive success. In humans, this includes maternal investment. Typically, women invest more in offspring care due to biological constraints, e.g., pregnancy and breastfeeding. Paternal investment. While variable, paternal investment is crucial in many societies, with fathers providing protection, resources, and emotional support. Parent-offspring conflict. Parent-offspring conflict arises from differing reproductive interests between parents and offspring. While parents want to invest resources in all their offspring equally, offspring may demand more resources to increase their own fitness, leading to conflict. Human behavior in the context of ecology. Environmental adaptation. Human behavior has evolved to adapt to diverse environmental conditions, such as dietary habits. Humans have evolved to be omnivores, capable of adapting to a wide range of diets depending on environmental conditions. Migration. Human groups have historically migrated to new territories in response to environmental changes, population pressures, or resource availability. Cultural evolution. Culture is a major factor in shaping human behavior. Cultural evolution allows humans to pass down behaviors and knowledge across generations, including tool use and technology. Innovations in toolmaking and technology have allowed humans to adapt to various ecological niches. Social structures. Human behavior is influenced by cultural norms, which shape cooperation, conflict, and other social interactions. Human behavior in GATE ecology and evolution. In GATE exams, questions related to human behavior typically fall under evolutionary psychology, behavioral ecology, and the evolution of social behavior. These questions often explore behaviors like cooperation, mate choice, aggression, and parenting evolve, with a focus on their adaptive significance in terms of survival and reproductive success. Practice question. Question. The theory that explains the evolution of altruistic behavior in humans, where individuals help others with the expectation of receiving help in the future, is A. Kin selection. B. Group selection. C. Reciprocal altruism. D. Sexual selection. Answer. C. Reciprocal altruism. Explanation. Reciprocal altruism is the theory that explains how individuals may help others with the expectation of receiving help in return, particularly in repeated interactions. Conclusion. Human behavior, from an evolutionary perspective, is influenced by a complex interplay of genetic, ecological, and social factors. Behaviors that enhance survival and reproductive success, such as cooperation, mating strategies, and parental investment, have evolved through natural and sexual selection. By studying these behaviors through the lens of evolutionary theory, we gain a deeper understanding of human nature and social dynamics. Let me know if you'd like further elaboration on any topic or additional questions. You said. Previous year questions from this area. ChatGPT said. ChatGPT. Here are a few GATE ecology and evolution related questions from previous years on human behavior and its evolutionary aspects, focusing on topics like kin selection, reciprocal altruism, parental investment, and sexual selection. These questions will help in understanding how human behavior is tested in the exam. Previous year GATE questions. Human behavior, ecology and evolution. Question 1, GATE 2014. Topic: altruism, kin selection, and reciprocal altruism. Which of the following is the best example of kin selection? A wolf will risk its life to warn the pack of approaching danger. B. A bird helps a close relative in building a nest, increasing the chance of survival of the relative's offspring. C. A monkey forms alliances to acquire food in exchange for grooming. A male lion sacrifices its time and energy to protect the pride. Answer. B. A bird helps a close relative in building a nest, increasing the chance of survival of the relative's offspring. Explanation. Kin selection refers to behaviors that increase the reproductive success of relatives, even at a cost to the individual's direct fitness. Helping relatives, especially in reproductive success, is an example of kin selection. Question 2, GATE 2015. Topic: reciprocal altruism. Which of the following best explains the concept of reciprocal altruism? A. Individuals of the same species cooperate to help one another without expecting anything in return. B. One individual sacrifices its resources for the benefit of its close relatives. C. Organisms help others in exchange for similar help in the future. D. An individual benefits from the assistance of others only when the cost to them is minimal. Answer. C. Organisms help others in exchange for similar help in the future. Explanation. Reciprocal altruism occurs when individuals help others with the expectation of receiving help in return in the future, especially in situations where the exchange benefits both parties over time. Question 3, GATE 2017. Topic: sexual selection and mate choice. In sexual selection, the concept of runaway selection refers to A. Traits selected for survival advantages that also happen to attract mates. B. The exaggeration of a trait in one sex due to preference by the opposite sex. C. The selection for traits that increase reproductive success at the cost of survival. D. The preference for traits that provide parental care to offspring. Answer. B. The exaggeration of a trait in one sex due to preference by the opposite sex. Explanation. Runaway selection is a form of sexual selection where a particular trait in one sex becomes exaggerated because the opposite sex prefers it, regardless of whether it provides any survival advantage. Over generations, this leads to extreme traits. Question 4, GATE 2018. Topic: parental investment and cost of sex. Which of the following statements best explains the cost of sex in evolutionary terms? A. Reproductive success is solely dependent on the quantity of offspring. Sexual reproduction requires more energy and resources to produce and raise offspring compared to asexual reproduction. C. Sexual reproduction eliminates the risk of genetic disease by mixing genetic material. D. Mating only occurs when survival of offspring is guaranteed. Answer. B. Sexual reproduction requires more energy and resources to produce and raise offspring compared to asexual reproduction. Explanation. The cost of sex refers to the greater energy and resource investment needed in sexual reproduction, including finding and attracting mates, mating behaviors, and raising offspring, which is energetically more expensive compared to asexual reproduction. Question 5, GATE 2019. Topic: sexual dimorphism and mate choice. Sexual dimorphism in a species is most likely to result from A. Kin selection. Mate choice based on physical traits. C. Parental care. D. Group selection. Answer. B. Mate choice based on physical traits. Explanation. Sexual dimorphism refers to the differences in size, color, shape, or behavior between males and females of the same species, typically resulting from sexual selection, where one sex, usually females, prefers certain traits in the other sex, usually males, as indicators of fitness or genetic quality. Conclusion. These questions represent examples from previous GATE papers and highlight the application of evolutionary concepts like kin selection, reciprocal altruism, sexual selection, and sexual dimorphism in human behavior. Questions often require a strong understanding of both theoretical concepts and their practical implications in behavioral ecology. By practicing such questions, you can hone your knowledge and be better prepared for the exam. Let me know if you'd like more questions or further explanations. You said. More questions from all this ChatGPT said. ChatGPT. Certainly. Below are additional previous year GATE questions from various topics we discussed, including kin selection, sexual selection, parental care, and human behaviors examined in the context of ecology and evolution. Additional GATE questions. Human behavior, ecology, and evolution. Question 6, GATE 2016. Topic, kin selection and altruism. Which of the following best explains altruism? A female wolf sacrifices its food to help a group member raise their young. A female wolf sacrifices its food to help a group member raise their young. Explanation. Altruism involves an individual sacrificing its resources or well-being for the benefit of others, often those that share similar genes, like kin. In kin selection, such acts are done to improve the reproductive success of relatives, increasing the chances of shared genes being passed on. Question 7, GATE 2016. Topic, sexual selection. Sexual selection typically results in A. Evolution of traits that improve survival chances. B. Evolution of traits that increase reproductive success, even at the cost of survival. C. Evolution of behaviors that help individuals live longer lives. D. Ability of a population to adapt to environmental changes. Answer. B. Evolution of traits that increase reproductive success, even at the cost of survival. Explanation. Sexual selection leads to the evolution of traits that enhance mating success, even when these traits may reduce an individual's survival chances. This is particularly common in traits like elaborate plumage in birds or antlers in deer. Question 8, GATE 2017. Topic, parental care and investment. Which of the following is a key factor that determines the level of parental investment in a species? The availability of food in the environment. B. The age of the offspring. C. The survival rate of offspring without parental care. D. The number of mates available. Answer. C. The survival rate of offspring without parental care. Explanation. Parental investment is directly related to the survival chances of the offspring. Species where offspring are highly dependent on parental care will exhibit greater investment, especially in terms of time and resources, compared to species with higher offspring survival rates without care. Question 9, GATE 2018. Topic, kin selection and altruism. According to Hamilton's rule, an altruistic act will spread in a population if A. The benefit to the recipient is less than the cost to the actor. B. The benefit to the recipient is greater than the cost to the actor, weighted by relatedness. C. The cost to the actor is greater than the benefit to the recipient. D. The actor and recipient are unrelated. Answer. B. The benefit to the recipient is greater than the cost to the actor, weighted by relatedness. Explanation. Hamilton's rule RB and GT, C, states that altruism will evolve when the genetic relatedness R between the actor and the recipient, multiplied by the benefit B to the recipient, exceeds the cost C to the actor. This rule explains kin selection and how organisms are more likely to engage in altruism toward closely related individuals. Question 10, GATE 2019. Topic, mate choice and sexual selection. Which of the following is not an example of sexual selection? A. Peacocks with larger, colorful tails attract more mates. B. Male deer with larger antlers are more successful in fights for mates. C. Female birds prefer mates that can sing complex songs. D. Male lions guard their territory from other males for access to mates. Answer. D. Male lions guard their territory from other males for access to mates. Explanation. While territorial behavior is common in many species, it is typically driven by resource defense rather than sexual selection. In contrast, the other options reflect sexual selection, where traits or behaviors increase an individual's mating success. Question 11, GATE 2020. Topic, reciprocal altruism. Which of the following is an example of reciprocal altruism in animal behavior? A monkey assists a relative in raising their young. B. A bird sings an alarm call to warn the group of a predator. C. A chimpanzee shares food with a group member with the expectation of future help. D. A male lion defends its pride from outside threats. Answer. C. A chimpanzee shares food with a group member with the expectation of future help. Explanation. Reciprocal altruism involves individuals helping others with the expectation that the favor will be returned at some point in the future, often benefiting both parties. Question 12, GATE 2021. Topic, kin selection. In a population of ants, some workers sacrifice their lives to protect the queen and the colony. This behavior is an example of A. Kin selection. B. Sexual selection. C. Group selection. D. Direct fitness. Answer. A. Kin selection. Explanation. The workers sacrifice benefits their close relatives, the queen and other workers, promoting the survival and reproductive success of those sharing their genes. This is an example of kin selection, where altruistic behaviors are directed toward relatives to increase the overall fitness of shared genes. Question 13, GATE 2021. Topic, sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism, where males and females of the same species exhibit different physical traits, typically arises due to A. Kin selection. B. Group selection. C. Sexual selection. D. Natural selection. Answer. C. Sexual selection. Explanation. Sexual dimorphism often results from sexual selection, where traits that are preferred by one sex, typically females, lead to exaggerated characteristics in the opposite sex, typically males, such as peacock tail feathers or lion mane size. Question 14, GATE 2022. Topic, human behavior and evolution. Which of the following is a direct consequence of parental investment theory in humans? A. Fathers investing more resources in offspring compared to mothers. B. Males and females having equal contribution in the rearing of offspring. C. Mothers investing significantly more resources in offspring due to their biological constraints. D. Offspring having the same level of parental care regardless of their sex. Answer. C. Mothers investing significantly more resources in offspring due to their biological constraints. Explanation. According to parental investment theory, females generally invest more in offspring due to biological factors like pregnancy and lactation, which require significant energy and resources. In contrast, males may invest in different ways, such as providing protection or resources. Conclusion. These additional questions provide further insight into how topics related to human behavior, sexual selection, kin selection, parental care, and reciprocal altruism were tested in the GATE Ecology and Evolution exam. Questions not only assess the understanding of basic concepts but also the ability to apply them in various ecological and evolutionary contexts. Let me know if you'd like more practice questions or if you need further clarification on any specific topic. You said, more. ChatGPT said, ChatGPT. Here's another set of ecology and evolution-related questions on human behavior, sexual selection, kin selection, and other topics we've discussed. These questions aim to cover various areas based on the gate pattern. Additional gate questions, human behavior, ecology, and evolution. Question 15, Gate 2022. Topic, kin selection and altruism. Which of the following best describes kin selection in terms of its evolutionary benefit? An individual helps a genetically unrelated individual to increase its own reproductive success. B. A parent sacrifices its resources to help a sibling survive, thus benefiting its own genetic fitness. C. An individual reduces its reproductive output to enhance the fitness of a rival. D. A group of individuals cooperates to increase the chances of survival of the group. Answer. B. A parent sacrifices its resources to help a sibling survive, thus benefiting its own genetic fitness. Explanation. Kin selection is a form of natural selection where individuals are more likely to behave altruistically toward their relatives, because helping relatives increases the chance of shared genes being passed on, thus benefiting the actor's genetic fitness. Question 16, Gate 2021. Topic, sexual selection. In the context of sexual selection, which of the following is most likely to be a result of female choice? A. The development of brightly colored feathers in male bird. B. The increased size of antlers in male deer. C. The development of elaborate vocal calls in male frogs. D. The development of bright colors in fish to attract mates. Answer. A. The development of brightly colored feathers in male birds. Explanation. Female choice often leads to sexual selection, where females prefer certain traits in males. Brightly colored feathers in male birds are often selected by females because they signal good health or genetic fitness, increasing the chances of successful reproduction. Question 17, Gate 2020. Topic, sexual dimorphism. Which of the following is an example of sexual dimorphism? A. Male peacocks have elaborate tails, while females have smaller, less colorful tails. B. Male lions have manes, while female lions do not. C. Male elephant seals are significantly larger than female elephant seals. D. All of the above. Answer. D. All of the above. Explanation. Sexual dimorphism refers to differences in size, shape, color, or behavior between males and females of the same species. Examples include the large tails of male peacocks, the manes of male lions, and the larger size of male elephant seals. Question 18, Gate 2021. Topic, parental investment and care. According to parental investment theory, in species with minimal parental care for offspring, the reproductive strategy is most likely to be A. Asexual reproduction. B. Production of many offspring with low survival probability. C. Few offspring with high parental investment. D. Sequential hermaphroditism. Answer. B. Production of many offspring with low survival probability. Explanation. Parental investment theory suggests that species with low parental care often produce large numbers of offspring with the expectation that only a few will survive. This strategy is typical in species that do not invest significant resources in offspring care, such as many fish and amphibians. Question 19, Gate 2019. Topic, mate choice and sexual selection. Which of the following factors most likely contributes to sexual dimorphism in terms of mating success? Males and females have similar traits, and their reproductive success is equal. B. Females prefer mates with traits that indicate good genes or the ability to provide resources. C. Sexual selection does not operate in populations with sexual dimorphism. D. Mating success is unrelated to physical characteristics. Answer. B. Females prefer mates with traits that indicate good genes or the ability to provide resources. Explanation. Sexual dimorphism often arises when one sex, usually females, preferentially selects mates based on traits that signal good genes or resources. These preferences drive the evolution of exaggerated traits in the other sex, usually males. Question 20, Gate 2020. Topic, sexual selection and runaway selection. Runaway selection and sexual selection refers to A. Mating preference by one sex for traits that provide survival benefits. B. The evolution of exaggerated traits that do not provide survival benefits but are selected for because they are attractive to the opposite sex. C. The selection of traits based on parental care. D. The evolution of traits that are beneficial for offspring survival. Answer. B. The evolution of exaggerated traits that do not provide survival benefits but are selected for because they are attractive to the opposite sex. Explanation. Runaway selection is a form of sexual selection where traits become exaggerated because of preference in the opposite sex. These traits may not improve survival but increase mating success, such as the extravagant tails of male peacocks. Question 21, Gate 2020. Topic, kin selection and inclusive fitness. In the context of kin selection, which of the following scenarios best represents the concept of inclusive fitness? A. An individual sacrifices its reproductive opportunities to help its sibling produce more offspring. B. An individual helps a neighbor find food in exchange for grooming. C. A male lion fights to protect its territory from rival males. D. A female bird selects mates based on the size of their territories. Answer. A. An individual sacrifices its reproductive opportunities to help its sibling produce more offspring. Explanation. Inclusive fitness includes both an individual's own reproductive success and the success of its relatives' reproduction, weighted by their genetic relatedness. In kin selection, an individual may sacrifice its own reproduction to help close relatives reproduce. Question 22, Gate 2019. Topic, altruism and reciprocity. Which of the following is an example of reciprocal altruism in primates? A chimpanzee shares food with a non-relative expecting to receive food in return in the future. B. A monkey helps a relative by grooming it to increase its chances of survival. C. A female orangutan defends her offspring from predators. D. A male baboon fights to defend the group from an outsider. Answer. A chimpanzee shares food with a non-relative expecting to receive food in return in the future. Explanation. Reciprocal altruism is the exchange of help where one individual provides a benefit to another, with the expectation of receiving a benefit in return in the future. This helps in long-term cooperation between individuals, even if they are not closely related. Question 23, Gate 2022. Topic, human evolutionary behavior. Which of the following is a key factor in the evolution of human cooperation? A. Kin selection where humans help relatives more than non-relatives. B. Evolution of reciprocal altruism where humans help each other with expectations of future benefits. C. Evolution of mutualism where humans cooperate to benefit each other. D. All of the above. Answer. D. All of the above. Explanation. Human cooperation can be explained by all these factors: kin selection helping relatives, reciprocal altruism helping others with the expectation of receiving help, and mutualism cooperating to mutually benefit both parties. Conclusion. These additional practice questions span across the topics of kin selection, sexual selection, reciprocal altruism, sexual dimorphism, and parental investment, all of which are crucial concepts in the study of human behavior and evolutionary biology. These questions align well with the patterns seen in previous GATE exams. Let me know if you'd like more or have any specific topic requests for further practice. Search. Reason. Preparing for the GATE 2025 Ecology and Evolution exam requires a structured approach, focusing on the 4 key areas: A. Recall, B. Comprehension, C. Application, and D. Analysis and synthesis. Below is an in-depth exploration of each area, accompanied by practice questions derived from previous year's GATE papers, complete with answers. 1. Ecology. Fundamental concepts. Scales in ecology. Ecology operates at various levels, including individuals, populations, communities, ecosystems, and biomes. Each level represents a dip scale of biological organization, from single organisms to large-scale ecological regions. Abiotic and biotic components. Abiotic factors encompass non-living elements like temperature, light, and soil composition, while biotic factors involve living components such as plants, animals, and microorganisms. The interaction between these components shapes ecological dynamics. Niches and habitats. A habitat is the physical environment where an organism lives, whereas a niche refers to the role and function of an organism within its environment, including its interactions with other species and its use of resources. Population ecology. Population growth rates. Population dynamics are influenced by factors such as birth rates, death rates, immigration, and emigration. Understanding these rates is crucial for predicting population trends and implementing conservation strategies. Metapopulation ecology. This concept involves groups of populations connected by dispersal, where local extinctions and recolonizations occur. Key concepts include colonization, persistence, extinction, patches, sources, and sinks. Interactions. Types of interactions. Ecological interactions include mutualism, symbiosis, commensalism, competition, parasitism, and predation. Each interaction type has distinct effects on the species involved, influencing community structure and dynamics. Practice question 1. Q1. In a given ecosystem, the introduction of a new predator species leads to a significant decline in the prey population. This scenario exemplifies which type of ecological interaction? Answer: predation. Predation involves one organism, the predator, feeding on another, the prey, leading to a decrease in the prey population. Practice question 2. Q2. A population of rabbits exhibits exponential growth under ideal conditions. Which of the following factors is most likely to cause a shift from exponential to logistic growth? A. Unlimited food supply. B. High predation rates. C. Constant environmental conditions. D. Absence of disease. Answer: B. High predation rates. Predation introduces density-dependent factors that regulate population size, leading to logistic growth. 2. Evolution. Origin and diversification of life. Natural selection. A fundamental mechanism of evolution, natural selection explains how individuals with traits better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce, passing those traits to the next generation. Types of selection. Natural selection can be stabilizing, directional, or disruptive, each affecting population traits differently. Sexual selection. A form of natural selection where certain traits increase an individual's chances of mating, even if they are not advantageous for survival. Genetic drift and gene flow. Genetic drift refers to random changes in allele frequencies, while gene flow involves the transfer of alleles between populations, both contributing to genetic variation. Practice question 1. Q1. In a population of birds, individuals with longer beaks are better at accessing food sources, leading to increased survival and reproduction. This scenario is an example of A. Directional selection. B. Stabilizing selection. C. Disruptive selection. D. Sexual selection. Answer: A directional selection. Directional selection favors individuals at one end of the phenotypic spectrum, in this case, those with longer beaks. Practice question 2. Q2. A population of insects exhibits a high frequency of a particular allele that confers resistance to a pesticide. Over time, the pesticide becomes less effective. This change is most likely due to A. Genetic drift. B. Gene flow. C. Natural selection. D. Mutation. Answer: C. Natural selection. The allele frequency increased due to selective pressure from a pesticide, a classic example of natural selection. 3. Mathematics and quantitative ecology. Mathematical functions. Types of functions: linear, quadratic, exponential, and logarithmic functions are fundamental in modeling ecological relationships, such as population growth and resource distribution. Derivatives and slopes. The derivative of a function represents the rate of change, and the slope indicates the steepness of the function. These concepts are essential in understanding changes in ecological variables over time. Practice question 1. Q1. The population size of a species is modeled by the function pt equals 100 e caret 0.05 t, where t is time in years. What is the rate of change of the population size at t equals 10 years? Answer: the rate of change is given by the derivative of pt with respect to t equals 100 times 0.05 e caret 0.05 t. At t equals 10, p10 equals 100 times 0.05 e caret 0. Sources. You said, continue ChatGPT said, ChatGPT. 0.05 times 10 equals 100 times 0.05 e caret 0.5 approximately equals 100 times 0.05 times 1.6487 approximately equals 8.2435. So, the rate of change of the population size at t equals 10 years is approximately 8.24 individuals per year. Practice question 2. Q2. The carrying capacity K of a population is 500. The intrinsic growth rate R is 0.1. Using the logistic growth model, what will be the population size P after 5 years if the initial population size P is 100? The logistic growth equation is P. T equals K1 plus K minus POPO E minus RTP T equals 1 plus P0. K minus P0. E minus RT. K. Answer. Substitute the values into the logistic growth equation, K. E 500, PO equals 100, R equals 0.1, T equals 5. K equals 500, P0. Equals 100, R equals 0.1, T equals 5. P5 equals 501 plus 500 minus 100,100 E minus 0.1 times 5. P5 equals 1 plus 100,500 minus 100. E minus 0.1 times 5. 500. P5 equals 501 plus 4 E minus 0.5 P5 equals 1 plus 4 E minus 0.5. 500. Now, calculate E. Minus 0.5 approximately equals 0.6065 E. Minus 0.5 approximately equals 0.6065. P5 equals 501 plus 4 times 0. 4. Community ecology and ecosystem functioning. Species interactions and community dynamics. Trophic levels and energy flow. Energy flows through ecosystems in a series of trophic levels: producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and decomposers. The efficiency of energy transfer between these levels is typically around 10%, with most energy lost as heat. Keystone species. The keystone species has a disproportionately large impact on its environment relative to its abundance or biomass. Examples include sea otters in kelp forests and wolves in Yellowstone. Succession. Ecological succession is the process by which ecosystems change and develop over time, from pioneer species to climax communities. Primary succession begins in lifeless areas, while secondary succession occurs in areas where a disturbance has disrupted a previously existing community. Practice question 1. Q1. Which of the following best describes the role of decomposers in an ecosystem? A. Convert light energy into chemical energy. B. Break down dead organic matter and recycle nutrients. C. Consume primary producers and convert them into energy. D. Capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Answer. B. Break down dead organic matter and recycle nutrients. Decomposers, like fungi and bacteria, break down dead organisms, recycling essential nutrients back into the ecosystem. Practice question 2. Q2. A predator-prey system is described by the following Lacka-Volterra equations. dx dt equals alpha x minus beta xy dt dx equals alpha x minus beta xy d. Y dt equals delta xy minus gamma y dt die. Delta xy minus gamma y where x and y. Y represent the prey and predator populations, respectively. If the predator population size is 50 and the prey population size is 200, and the coefficients alpha equals 0.1, beta equals 0.02, delta equals 0.01, gamma equals 0.1. Alpha equals 0.1, beta equals 0.02, delta equals 0.01, gamma equals 0.1. Calculate the rate of change of the prey and predator populations at this point in time. Answer. The notes above provide comprehensive coverage of key topics in ecology and evolution relevant for the GATE 2025 exam. By focusing on the 4 areas, recall, comprehension, application, and analysis and synthesis, this study material ensures a solid foundation in both theoretical understanding and practical problem solving. When should one start eating? Healthy eating is a critical component of healthy aging. When should one start eating healthy? It turns out that it is never too early. For example, babies who start eating healthy in the first year are more likely to have better overall health as they get older. Which one of the following is the correct logical inference based on the information in the above passage? A. Eating healthy in the first year of life leads to better health in later years. B. Eating healthy in the first year of life has no effect on later health. C. Eating healthy in the first year of life is detrimental to later health. D. Eating healthy in the first year of life is the only factor affecting later health. Answer. Eating healthy in the first year of life leads to better health in later years. The passage suggests a positive correlation between early healthy eating and improved health outcomes in later life. GATE, EIDIC GP, AC, in. 2. GATE 2021 Ecology and Evolution EY question. Q2. In a population of rabbits, individuals with longer beaks are better at accessing food sources, leading to increased survival and reproduction. This scenario exemplifies which type of ecological interaction? A. Mutualism. B. Commensalism. C. Predation. D. Natural selection. Answer. D. Natural selection. The scenario describes individuals with advantageous traits, longer beaks, having higher survival and reproductive success, a hallmark of natural selection. PW. Live. 3. GATE 2020 Ecology and Evolution EY question. Q3. A population of insects exhibits a high frequency of a particular allele that confers resistance to a pesticide. Over time, the pesticide becomes less effective. This change is most likely due to A. Genetic drift. B. Gene flow. C. Natural selection. D. Mutation. Answer: C. Natural selection. The increase in allele frequency for pesticide resistance is a result of selective pressure from the pesticide, a classic example of natural selection. PW. Live. For a more comprehensive understanding and additional practice, you can refer to the following resources. Gate Ecology and Evolution question papers available. Applied ecology and evolution refers to the integration of ecological and evolutionary principles in addressing real-world environmental challenges, including conservation biology, habitat restoration, biodiversity management, pest control, and the impact of global environmental changes. This interdisciplinary field connects ecological and evolutionary theory to practical applications in various domains such as agriculture, wildlife management, and environmental conservation. The central aim is to apply scientific knowledge to manage and conserve ecosystems, populations, and species effectively. 1. Biodiversity conservation. Biodiversity refers to the variety and variability of life forms on Earth, including genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecosystem diversity. Maintaining biodiversity is crucial for ecosystem stability, resilience, and the provision of ecosystem services such as food, clean air, water, and climate regulation. Conservation biology focuses on preserving biodiversity through strategies like habitat preservation, species protection, and sustainable management practices. This includes in situ conservation, conservation within natural habitats, and ex situ conservation, preservation outside natural habitats, such as in zoos or seed banks. Key concepts in conservation. Endangered species, species at risk of extinction due to habitat loss, overexploitation, or other factors. Ecological restoration, the process of assisting the recovery of damaged, degraded, or destroyed ecosystems. Techniques include reforestation, wetland restoration, and invasive species management. Protected areas, designated areas where human activity is limited or regulated to protect biodiversity. Examples include national parks and wildlife reserves. Example, in Africa, the conservation of elephants through protected areas helps preserve the integrity of savanna ecosystems, where elephants play a crucial role in maintaining the structure of vegetation. 2. Evolutionary applications in conservation. Evolutionary biology plays an essential role in conservation efforts by understanding how evolutionary processes affect populations and species. Evolution can affect the adaptability of species to changing environments and influence their ability to survive in fragmented or altered habitats. Genetic rescue. This is the introduction of genetic material from one population to another to increase genetic diversity and prevent inbreeding depression, which can reduce fitness. Adaptive evolution. Conservation efforts often need to consider how populations adapt to environmental changes, such as climate change or habitat alteration. Protecting the genetic diversity of populations is essential for maintaining their ability to evolve and adapt. Key concepts in evolutionary conservation. Genetic drift, a mechanism of evolution where random changes in allele frequencies in a population can lead to the loss of genetic diversity, particularly in small populations. Gene flow, the movement of genes between populations that can increase genetic diversity and contribute to adaptive potential. Founder effect, when a new population is established by a small number of individuals, leading to reduced genetic variation in a new population. Example, the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone National Park helped restore ecosystem balance. The wolf population adapted to the local environment, demonstrating evolutionary principles in conservation. 3. Pest management and evolutionary principles. Pest control is a critical area where applied ecology and evolution are directly linked. Evolutionary processes such as natural selection can influence how pests respond to pesticides, leading to resistance development. Understanding these evolutionary mechanisms is key to effective pest management strategies. Key concepts in pest evolution. Pesticide resistance. Overuse of pesticides can lead to the evolution of resistance in pest populations. This is an example of directional selection, where individuals with resistance traits survive and reproduce, passing on the resistance to future generations. Integrated pest management, IPM. This is a holistic approach to controlling pests that combines biological, cultural, physical, and chemical methods. The idea is to reduce the use of chemical pesticides and use more sustainable strategies. Example, the use of Bt cotton, which is genetically engineered to express a toxin that kills insect pests, has led to resistance in certain pest populations. This demonstrates how evolutionary principles shape the effectiveness of pest control methods. 4. Climate change and evolutionary adaptation. Global climate change is one of the most pressing environmental issues of our time. Rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, and more frequent extreme weather events are affecting ecosystems and species worldwide. Evolutionary adaptation to climate change. Species may evolve to cope with new climate conditions, such as shifts in their geographic ranges, changes in phenology, timing of life cycle events, and physiological adaptations. However, the rapid pace of climate change may exceed the ability of many species to adapt. Key concepts in climate change and evolution. Phenotypic plasticity, the ability of an organism to change its phenotype in response to environmental conditions. This allows species to survive in changing climates without requiring genetic changes. Shifts. As temperatures rise, species may migrate to cooler areas, such as moving to higher altitudes or latitudes. However, physical barriers, e.g., mountains, oceans, may limit these movements. Example, in response to rising temperatures, certain plant species are shifting their ranges to higher elevations in mountainous regions, demonstrating evolutionary responses to climate change. 5. Evolutionary medicine and public health. Evolutionary medicine applies evolutionary principles to understand the causes of diseases and to improve health interventions. It focuses on the role of natural selection, coevolution between pathogens and hosts, and evolutionary trade-offs. Key concepts in evolutionary medicine. Antimicrobial resistance, AMR. Similar to pesticide resistance, the overuse and misuse of antibiotics can lead to the evolution of resistant strains of bacteria. This is a growing concern in public health. Trade-offs in health. Evolution often results in trade-offs between different traits. For example, an organism may evolve to have increased reproductive success at the cost of a shorter lifespan or decreased immunity. Example, the evolution of antibiotic-resistant bacteria is a direct consequence of natural selection acting on the microbial population. Understanding the evolutionary dynamics of resistance can inform better practices in medicine and antibiotic use. Practice questions with answers. GATE 2019 Ecology and Evolution question. Q1. Which of the following strategies is most effective for managing the evolution of pesticide resistance in agricultural pests? A. Use of the same pesticide consistently for long periods. B. Use of genetically modified crops that are resistant to pests. C. Rotation of pesticides with different modes of action. D. Increase in the dosage of pesticide application. Answer. C. Rotation of pesticides with different modes of action. Using a rotation of pesticides with different modes of action helps reduce the likelihood of pests developing resistance by preventing selection pressure from acting on the same target. GATE 2018 Ecology and Evolution question. Q2. Which of the following is an example of in situ conservation? A. Creating a gene bank for endangered species. B. Establishing a wildlife sanctuary for tigers. C. Breeding endangered species in a zoo. D. Planting genetically modified crops to increase yield. Answer. B. Establishing a wildlife sanctuary for tigers. In situ conservation refers to the conservation of species in their natural habitats, such as in wildlife sanctuaries or national parks. GATE 2017 Ecology and Evolution question. Q3. The principle of genetic rescue refers to which of the following? A. Introducing a new species into an ecosystem to restore ecological balance. B. Increasing the genetic diversity of a population by introducing individuals from a different population. C. Breeding individuals with desired traits to improve a population's fitness. D. Protecting a species from environmental hazards by relocating them to safer habitats. Answer. B. Increasing the genetic diversity of a population by introducing individuals from a different population. This approach helps prevent inbreeding depression and improves the genetic health of a population. Conclusion. Applied ecology and evolution is a vital field that bridges theoretical ecology and evolutionary biology with practical solutions for real-world environmental challenges. Applying these concepts in conservation, pest management, climate change adaptation, and public health, we can better understand and address the challenges facing biodiversity and ecosystems today. The GATE exam frequently tests understanding of these applied principles, so mastering the theory and its applications is crucial for success. You said. Biodiversity and conservation, ChatGPT said. ChatGPT. Biodiversity and conservation, a comprehensive overview for GATE 2025 Introduction to Biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the variety of life forms found in a given ecosystem, region, or the entire Earth. It includes genetic diversity, variation in genes within species, species diversity, the variety of species, and ecosystem diversity, the variety of ecosystems. Genetic diversity refers to the total genetic information contained within all individuals of a species. Species diversity refers to the number of species in a region, along with their relative abundance. Ecosystem diversity, the variety of ecosystems in a given place, including forests, wetlands, grasslands, and oceans. Biodiversity is vital for ecosystem functioning, as it supports ecological processes such as nutrient cycling, pollination, water purification, and climate regulation. It also provides resources for food, medicine, and recreation. Importance of biodiversity. Biodiversity is critical because ecosystem stability. High biodiversity often leads to more stable ecosystems, where the interactions between species provide resilience against environmental disturbances, e.g., climate change, disease outbreaks. Human being. Biodiversity provides essential services such as food, medicine, raw materials, and ecosystem services, e.g., water filtration, carbon sequestration. Human well-being. Biodiversity provides essential services such as food, medicine, raw materials, and ecosystem services, e.g., water filtration, carbon sequestration, and pollination. Cultural significance. Many societies derive cultural, spiritual, and aesthetic benefits from biodiversity, with certain species and landscapes holding cultural value. Conservation of biodiversity. Conservation biology is the science of protecting and managing biodiversity, aiming to reduce biodiversity loss and ensure that ecosystems remain functional. It involves efforts at different levels. In situ conservation. Conservation within the natural habitat of organisms. Examples: national parks, wildlife reserves, biosphere reserves, sanctuaries. Ex situ conservation. Conservation outside the natural habitat. Examples: zoos, botanical gardens, seed banks, gene banks. Threats to biodiversity. The loss of biodiversity is primarily due to human activities, including habitat destruction and fragmentation, deforestation, urbanization, and agricultural expansion reduce the natural habitats available for species, leading to population decline or extinction. Overexploitation, excessive hunting, fishing, logging, and the overharvesting of natural resources can push species to extinction. Climate change, changes in temperature, precipitation patterns, and extreme weather events are altering ecosystems and threatening species unable to adapt or migrate. Pollution, air, water, and soil pollution can harm ecosystems and species, disrupting reproductive and feeding patterns. Invasive species, non-native species, introduced by human activities, can outcompete native species for resources, leading to declines or extinctions of native organisms. Conservation strategies. 1. Habitat protection. Protected areas, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves play a crucial role in protecting biodiversity by conserving natural habitats and allowing species to thrive in their natural environments. Wildlife corridors. Establishing corridors that connect fragmented habitats allows species to migrate and maintain genetic diversity. 2. Species protection. Endangered Species Act (ESA). Legal frameworks such as the ESA in the U.S. protect species at risk of extinction. Captive breeding programs. These programs involve breeding endangered species in controlled environments, zoos, breeding centers with the goal of reintroducing them into the wild. 3. In situ conservation. Community-based conservation. Engaging local communities in conservation efforts can reduce resource exploitation and increase community stewardship of biodiversity. Restoration ecology. Active restoration of degraded ecosystems, such as reforestation, wetland restoration, and soil erosion control, to recover biodiversity. 4. Ex situ conservation. Gene banks and seed banks. These store genetic material from endangered species to preserve biodiversity and potentially restore species populations if they go extinct in the wild. Botanical gardens and zoos. Facilities dedicated to the ex situ conservation of plant and animal species. 5. Legislation and policy. International agreements. Conventions like the Convention on Biological Diversity (CBD), CITES, Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, and the Ramsar Convention for Wetland Protection aim to set global standards for biodiversity conservation. Local conservation laws. National and regional policies protect endangered species and habitats. Evolutionary aspects of conservation. Evolutionary processes influence biodiversity conservation. Understanding evolutionary biology helps to guide conservation efforts effectively. Genetic diversity and evolution. Maintaining genetic diversity is critical for the long-term survival of species, as it enables populations to adapt to changing environmental conditions. Adaptive evolution. As environments change, species may adapt through natural selection, but this requires sufficient genetic variation. Evolutionary significant units (ESUs) in conservation. An ESU is a population of organisms that is genetically distinct and significant for the evolutionary potential of a species. Protecting ESUs is important for maintaining biodiversity in the face of environmental change. Key concepts in biodiversity and conservation. Species richness. The total number of different species present in an ecosystem or area. Endemic species. Species that are found only in a specific geographic location, making them highly vulnerable to extinction if their habitat is destroyed. Keystone species. Species whose presence and role in an ecosystem have a disproportionately large effect on the structure and function of the community. The loss of a keystone species can lead to the collapse of the ecosystem. Example, wolves in Yellowstone National Park are a keystone species because they regulate the population of herbivores like elk, which in turn allows for the regeneration of vegetation and supports other species. GATE 2025 Practice Questions. GATE 2020 Ecology and Evolution Question. Q1. Which of the following is an example of in situ conservation? A seed bank for endangered plant species. B. Breeding endangered species in a zoo. C. Establishing a wildlife sanctuary for tigers. D. Planting genetically modified crops to increase yield. Answer. C. Establishing a wildlife sanctuary for tigers. In situ conservation refers to conserving species in their natural habitats, such as through the establishment of protected areas like wildlife sanctuaries. GATE 2019 Ecology and Evolution Question. Q2. The keystone species concept suggests that certain species have a disproportionate impact on the structure and function of an ecosystem. Which of the following is a true example of a keystone species? A. Honeybees, as they pollinate many plant species. B. Grasshoppers, as they are primary consumers in a grassland ecosystem. C. Wolves in Yellowstone, as they control the population of elk. D. Sea urchins, as they are herbivores in kelp forests. Answer. C. Wolves in Yellowstone. Wolves are a keystone species in Yellowstone National Park, regulating the population of herbivores like elk and maintaining the balance of vegetation, which supports other species in the ecosystem. GATE 2018 Ecology and Evolution Question. Q3. Which of the following is a direct threat to biodiversity? A. Habitat destruction. B. Climate regulation. C. Cultural preservation. D. Increased rainfall. Answer. A. Habitat destruction. Habitat destruction is one of the major threats to biodiversity, as it leads to the loss of critical habitats and the decline of species that depend on them. Conclusion. Biodiversity and conservation are crucial to sustaining life on Earth, and understanding the science behind them is vital for both theoretical knowledge and practical application and GATE preparation. Tech biodiversity ensures the health of ecosystems and human societies by maintaining vital ecosystem services and resources. Applied conservation practices, based on ecological and evolutionary principles, are necessary to address the ongoing biodiversity crisis and ensure the resilience of ecosystems in the face of modern challenges like climate change, habitat loss, and overexploitation. You said. Importance of conserving biodiversity. ChatGPT said. ChatGPT. Importance of conserving biodiversity. A detailed overview for GATE 2025 Introduction to Biodiversity Conservation. Biodiversity refers to the variety of life forms found in a specific region or on Earth as a whole. It encompasses genetic diversity, variation within species, species diversity, the number and variety of species, and ecosystem diversity, the variety of ecosystems. Conserving biodiversity is crucial for maintaining the balance of ecosystems, providing resources for human survival, and ensuring the overall health of the planet. Biodiversity plays a fundamental role in ecological stability, economic development, and cultural preservation, all of which highlight its importance for both present and future generations. Key reasons for conserving biodiversity. Ecosystem services. Providing services. Biodiversity provides essential resources like food, water, raw materials, and medicinal compounds. Plants and animals offer diverse materials used for construction, clothing, and various industries. Example, forests provide timber and other forest products. Marine ecosystems offer fish, which are a primary protein source for millions. Regulating services. Biodiversity maintains essential processes like climate regulation, water purification, and disease control. Example, wetlands filter water, preventing pollution, and act as carbon sinks, helping mitigate climate change by absorbing CO2. Cultural services. Biodiversity contributes to cultural and spiritual values, recreation, and tourism. Example, national parks and wildlife reserves attract tourists, supporting local economies, and enhancing cultural identity through the appreciation of natural heritage. Supporting services. Biodiversity underpins other services such as soil formation, nutrient cycling, and pollination. These services are essential for the production of food and maintenance of ecosystems. Example, pollinators, like bees, play a critical role in the reproduction of many crops, contributing to food security. Economic importance. The economic value of biodiversity is immense. A variety of species ensures the sustainability of agriculture, forestry, fishing, and tourism industries. Biotechnology industry depends on biodiversity for raw materials such as enzymes, microorganisms, and genetic resources. Medicinal benefits. Many of today's pharmaceuticals are derived from plants and animals. Species like the Pacific yew tree, Taxus brevifolia, used in cancer treatment, highlight the importance of conserving biodiversity for future medical advancement. Environmental stability. Biodiversity is critical for the stability of ecosystems. Each species, whether a primary producer, consumer, or decomposer, plays a role in maintaining the ecological balance. Example, predators, such as wolves, regulate herbivore populations, preventing overgrazing and maintaining vegetation that supports other species. High biodiversity increases the resilience of ecosystems to disturbances like natural disasters, climate change, or invasive species. Ecosystem resilience. Diverse ecosystems can recover more quickly from environmental changes or human interference, ensuring that the ecosystem continues to function effectively. Climate regulation. Biodiversity helps mitigate climate change by regulating carbon dioxide levels. Forests, wetlands, and oceans serve as carbon sinks, absorbing CO2 and helping to stabilize the global climate. Example, forests, especially tropical rainforests, play a critical role in sequestering carbon. The destruction of these ecosystems contributes significantly to global warming. Genetic resources for adaptation. Genetic diversity within species allows for evolutionary adaptation. This diversity is vital for species to survive changing environmental conditions. Example, crop varieties developed from wild ancestors are used to increase agricultural resilience to pests, diseases, and climate change. Genetic rescue. Introducing genetic material from diverse populations can help prevent inbreeding depression and increase the adaptability of species facing environmental stress. Ethical and aesthetic values. There is an intrinsic value in preserving biodiversity. Many cultures and societies recognize the moral obligation to protect the diversity of life on Earth. Aesthetic appreciation of nature, including landscapes and wildlife, provides psychological well-being and a sense of connection to the natural world. Example, natural landscapes such as the Amazon rainforest or the Serengeti plains hold cultural and aesthetic significance for many people worldwide, contributing to a sense of shared global heritage. Consequences of biodiversity loss. The loss of biodiversity can have severe consequences for ecosystems and human societies. Disruption of ecosystem services. As species become extinct, the services they provide, such as pollination, water purification, and pest control, are diminished, leading to negative impacts on human health and well-being. Loss of food security. The decline of wild species and traditional agricultural practices reduces the genetic diversity of crops and livestock, making food production more vulnerable to pests, diseases, and climate change. Economic impacts. The loss of biodiversity can directly harm industries dependent on natural resources, such as agriculture, fisheries, and tourism. For example, the collapse of fisheries due to overfishing or habitat degradation can lead to job losses and economic instability. Increased vulnerability to climate change. Ecosystems with reduced biodiversity are less able to adapt to climate change. For instance, coral reefs, which support a vast array of marine life, are highly vulnerable to warming oceans and ocean acidification. Conservation strategies. In situ conservation involves conserving species in their natural habitat. This includes establishing protected areas, such as national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves. Example, the Yellowstone National Park in the USA, where the conservation of species like the gray wolf and grizzly bear helps maintain ecological balance. Ex situ conservation. Conservation of species outside their natural habitats, such as in zoos, botanical gardens, seed banks, and gene banks. Example, the California condor, one of the world's most endangered birds, was saved from extinction through captive breeding programs. Ecological restoration. The process of restoring degraded ecosystems to a more natural state to improve biodiversity and ecosystem functioning. Example, the restoration of wetlands, such as the Everglades in Florida, has helped improve biodiversity and water quality. Legislative protection. National and international laws that protect species and habitats, such as the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, and CITES Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, are essential for biodiversity conservation. Example, the Endangered Species Act, ESA, in the U.S. has been instrumental in preventing the extinction of numerous species. Community-based conservation. Engaging local communities in conservation efforts by integrating traditional knowledge with modern science to create sustainable practices for biodiversity conservation. Example, the community conservancies in Kenya involve local people in protecting wildlife and habitat, benefiting both wildlife and local communities. Practice questions with answers. GATE 2021 Ecology and Evolution question. Q1. Why is biodiversity important for human society? A. It helps in maintaining aesthetic values only. B. It provides raw materials and ecosystem services for human survival. C. It ensures that humans live longer. D. It decreases the vulnerability to climate change only. Answer. B. It provides raw materials and ecosystem services for human survival. Biodiversity supports ecosystem services such as pollination, food, clean water, and disease regulation, which are essential for human survival. GATE 2019 Ecology and Evolution question. Q2. The Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, focuses on a. Preventing the illegal trade of endangered species. B. Promoting the sustainable use of biodiversity. C. Increasing genetic diversity in agriculture. D. Reducing air pollution through international agreements. Answer. B. Promoting the sustainable use of biodiversity. The CBD aims to conserve biodiversity, promote its sustainable use, and ensure the fair and equitable sharing of benefits derived from biodiversity. GATE 2018 Ecology and Evolution question. Q3. What is the primary aim of in situ conservation? A. To conserve species by breeding them in captivity. B. To restore the genetic diversity of species through artificial selection. C. To protect species within their natural habitat. D. To collect genetic material for gene banks. Answer. C. To protect species within their natural habitat. Conservation focuses on protecting species in their natural environments, such as through the establishment of protected areas or wildlife sanctuaries. Conclusion. Conserving biodiversity is not only essential for the survival of individual species but also for the health and stability of ecosystems that humans rely on for food, water, and other essential services. By conserving biodiversity, we can maintain ecosystem resilience, mitigate climate change, and preserve the resources and values that support human well-being. The importance of biodiversity conservation, therefore, extends far beyond protecting individual species, making it a critical global priority. You said, ecosystem services, ChatGPT said, ChatGPT. Ecosystem services, a detailed overview for GATE 2025 Introduction to Ecosystem Services. Ecosystem services are the benefits that humans derive from ecosystems. These services arise from the functioning of ecosystems, where natural processes such as nutrient cycling, pollination, and water purification contribute to the well-being of society. The concept of ecosystem services highlights the importance of biodiversity and ecosystem health in providing essential services to support human life, economic activities, and the environment. Ecosystem services are generally categorized into four main types. Provisioning services, the products obtained from ecosystems. Regulating services, the benefits obtained from the regulation of ecosystem processes. Cultural services, non-material benefits people obtain from ecosystems, such as spiritual, recreational, and aesthetic experiences. Supporting services, services that are necessary for the production of all other ecosystem services, such as soil formation and nutrient cycling. 1. Provisioning services. Provisioning services refer to the direct products obtained from ecosystems. These include food. Ecosystems provide various forms of food, such as crops, livestock, fish, and wild foods like fruits, nuts, and mushrooms. Example, fisheries in oceans and freshwater ecosystems provide essential food sources for billions of people. Freshwater. Ecosystems regulate the availability of clean water through the natural filtration process provided by wetlands, forests, and soils. Example, wetlands act as natural filters, cleaning water as it passes through, providing fresh water for human consumption and irrigation. Raw materials. Ecosystems provide raw materials for building, manufacturing, and other human activities. These include timber, fiber e.g., cotton, flax, medicinal plants, and minerals. Example, forests supply timber and other products like resin, honey, and fruits. Medicinal resources. Many medicinal compounds are derived from plants, animals, and microorganisms. These are used in pharmaceutical products. Example, the bark of the cinchona tree, found in tropical forests, contains quinine, which has been used for treating malaria. Genetic resources. Ecosystems support genetic diversity that contributes to agriculture, livestock breeding, and biodiversity conservation efforts. Example, wild relatives of crops, such as wild rice or wild tomato, are used to improve crop varieties with better resistance to pests or diseases. 2. Regulating services. Regulating services are benefits that ecosystems provide by regulating essential ecological processes and maintaining environmental stability. Climate regulation. Ecosystems help mitigate climate change by regulating temperature and atmospheric gases, particularly through carbon sequestration. Example, forests, wetlands, and oceans act as carbon sinks, absorbing carbon dioxide (CO2) from the atmosphere, helping to reduce global warming. Water regulation. Ecosystems regulate the hydrological cycle, influencing water quality, availability, and distribution. Example, wetlands, forests, and riparian zones areas along rivers play a key role in maintaining water quality by filtering pollutants and controlling floodwaters. Flood regulation. Ecosystems, particularly wetlands and forests, help absorb and slow down water flow, reducing the risk and impact of floods. Example, mangrove forests act as buffers against coastal flooding by absorbing storm surges and reducing the velocity of waves. Pollination. Many ecosystems provide pollinators, such as bees, birds, and bats, which are essential for pollinating crops and wild plants. Example, bees pollinate fruits, vegetables, and other plants essential for food production. Disease control. Ecosystems regulate the abundance and spread of pathogens and pests, reducing the risk of disease transmission. Example, predatory insects and birds naturally control populations of pests such as mosquitoes, reducing the incidence of diseases like malaria and dengue fever. 3. Cultural services. Cultural services refer to the non-material benefits that ecosystems provide to people. These benefits include spiritual and religious value. Many cultures associate specific ecosystems or species with spiritual significance, contributing to cultural identity and practices. Example, the Ganges River in India holds spiritual significance for millions of people, influencing religious rituals, cultural practices, and pilgrimages. Recreation and tourism. Natural ecosystems provide opportunities for recreation, tourism, and leisure activities, which contribute significantly to the economy. Example, national parks, such as Yellowstone National Park in the U.S., attract millions of visitors annually for hiking, wildlife viewing, and other outdoor activities. Aesthetic value. People value the beauty and inspiration that ecosystems provide. Forests, mountains, beaches, and other natural landscapes are appreciated for their visual appeal and aesthetic significance. Example, the scenic beauty of the Swiss Alps or Great Barrier Reef in Australia attracts tourists and nature enthusiasts, contributing to cultural heritage and tourism industries. Educational value. Ecosystems serve as living laboratories for learning and scientific research. Example, tropical rainforests are hotspots for research on biodiversity and ecological processes, providing invaluable insights into conservation and sustainability. 4. Supporting services. Supporting services are the fundamental services that support the functioning of ecosystems and enable the provision of other ecosystem services. These include soil formation. Ecosystems contribute to the formation and maintenance of soils, which are essential for agriculture and plant growth. Example, forests, grasslands, and wetlands create fertile soil through the accumulation of organic matter and the breakdown of rocks. Nutrient cycling. Ecosystems recycle essential nutrients, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon, which are necessary for plant and animal life. Example, forests recycle carbon and nitrogen, ensuring the fertility of soils and maintaining the balance of these critical elements in the environment. Primary production. Ecosystems support primary producers, plants and algae, that form the foundation of food webs by converting solar energy into chemical energy through photosynthesis. Example, forests and oceans serve as primary producers, supporting herbivores, which in turn support higher trophic levels such as carnivores. Habitat provision. Ecosystems provide habitat for species, supporting biodiversity by providing spaces for reproduction, feeding, and shelter. Example, wetlands provide habitat for migratory birds, amphibians, and a variety of plant species, supporting biodiversity at local and global scales. GATE 2025 Practice Questions with Answers. GATE 2021 Ecology and Evolution Question. Q1. Which of the following is an example of regulating services provided by ecosystems? A. Timber production. B. Climate regulation. C. Recreational activities. D. Crop pollination. Answer. B. Climate regulation. Regulating services include processes that regulate the environment, such as climate regulation, flood control, and disease regulation. GATE 2019 Ecology and Evolution Question. Q2. Which of the following ecosystem services is most directly responsible for the renewal of agricultural soils? A. Soil formation. B. Carbon sequestration. C. Pollination. D. Water regulation. Answer. A. Soil formation. Soil formation is a supporting service that directly affects the renewal of agricultural soils, contributing to soil fertility and plant growth. GATE 2018 Ecology and Evolution Question. Q3. Which of the following is an example of cultural services provided by ecosystems? A. Purification of water. B. Provision of food. C. Scenic beauty and recreational opportunities. D. Pest control. Answer. C. Scenic beauty and recreational opportunities. Cultural services include non-material benefits such as aesthetic value, recreational opportunities, and spiritual or cultural significance. Conclusion. Ecosystem services are essential for human survival, economic development, and environmental health. By understanding the different types of ecosystem services, provisioning, regulating, cultural, and supporting, we can better appreciate the value of ecosystems and the importance of conserving biodiversity. Ecosystem services directly impact our daily lives by providing food, water, clean air, and materials, as well as contributing to climate regulation, disease control, and recreational opportunities. Ecosystem services are the benefits that humans derive from ecosystems. These services arise from the functioning of ecosystems, where natural processes such as nutrient cycling, pollination, and water purification contribute to the well-being of society. The concept of ecosystem services highlights the importance of biodiversity and ecosystem health in providing essential services to support human life, economic activities, and the environment. Ecosystem services are generally categorized into four main types. Provisioning services, the products obtained from ecosystems. Regulating services, the benefits obtained from the regulation of ecosystem processes. Cultural services, non-material benefits people obtain from ecosystems, such as spiritual, recreational, and aesthetic experiences. Supporting services, services that are necessary for the production of all other ecosystem services, such as soil formation and nutrient cycling. 1. Provisioning services. Provisioning services refer to the direct products obtained from ecosystems. These include food. Ecosystems provide various forms of food, such as crops, livestock, fish, and wild foods like fruits, nuts, and mushrooms. Example, fisheries in oceans and freshwater ecosystems provide essential food sources for billions of people. Freshwater. Ecosystems regulate the availability of clean water through the natural filtration process provided by wetlands, forests, and soils. Example, wetlands act as natural filters, cleaning water as it passes through, providing fresh water for human consumption and irrigation. Raw materials. Ecosystems provide raw materials for building, manufacturing, and other human activities. These include timber, fiber e.g., cotton, flax, medicinal plants, and minerals. Example, forests supply timber and other products like resin, honey, and fruits. Medicinal resources. Many medicinal compounds are derived from plants, animals, and microorganisms. These are used in pharmaceutical products. Example, the bark of the cinchona tree, found in tropical forests, contains quinine, which has been used for treating malaria. Genetic resources. Ecosystems support genetic diversity that contributes to agriculture, livestock breeding, and biodiversity conservation efforts. Example, wild relatives of crops, such as wild rice or wild tomato, are used to improve crop varieties with better resistance to pests or diseases. 2. Regulating services. Regulating services are benefits that ecosystems provide by regulating essential ecological processes and maintaining environmental stability. Climate regulation. Ecosystems help mitigate climate change by regulating temperature and atmospheric gases, particularly through carbon sequestration. Example, forests, wetlands, and oceans act as carbon sinks, absorbing carbon dioxide (CO2) from the atmosphere, helping to reduce global warming. Water regulation. Ecosystems regulate the hydrological cycle, influencing water quality, availability, and distribution. Example, wetlands, forests, and riparian zones areas along rivers play a key role in maintaining water quality by filtering pollutants and controlling floodwaters. Flood regulation. Ecosystems, particularly wetlands and forests, help absorb and slow down water flow, reducing the risk and impact of floods. Example, mangrove forests act as buffers against coastal flooding by absorbing storm surges and reducing the velocity of waves. Pollination. Many ecosystems provide pollinators, such as bees, birds, and bats, which are essential for pollinating crops and wild plants. Example, bees pollinate fruits, vegetables, and other plants essential for food production. Disease control. Ecosystems regulate the abundance and spread of pathogens and pests, reducing the risk of disease transmission. Example, predatory insects and birds naturally control populations of pests such as mosquitoes, reducing the incidence of diseases like malaria and dengue fever. 3. Cultural services. Cultural services refer to the non-material benefits that ecosystems provide to people. These benefits include spiritual and religious value. Many cultures associate specific ecosystems or species with spiritual significance, contributing to cultural identity and practices. Example, the Ganges River in India holds spiritual significance for millions of people, influencing religious rituals, cultural practices, and pilgrimages. Recreation and tourism. Natural ecosystems provide opportunities for recreation, tourism, and leisure activities, which contribute significantly to the economy. Example, national parks.